Hi there, this is Octave from Spektro Audio, and I'm here today to share some exciting news about NGEN, our Algorithmic MIDI Workstation. NGEN is a multi-track MIDI sequencer that lets you use custom generators and effects to generate different kinds of MIDI sequences algorithmically, and then modify them in real time. It includes generators such as ACDGEN for generating bass lines, DrumGen for creating drum patterns, Polyform for generating polyphonic responses, and much more. You can use NGEN to add extra parts to your songs, or to create and perform entire songs in a very unique way. If you haven't watched the overview video for NGEN, we highly recommend that you check it out so you can learn more about what NGEN is capable of. We'll have a link for it in the description of this video. In this video, I'll talk about some news related to NGEN's availability, a new hardware revision, and a new firmware update. So let's get started. So after releasing and shipping the first batch of NGEN units back in January 2023, we started working hard to address different parts of the NGEN project, especially its availability. To address the roadblocks that I talked about in the first video, I decided to revisit the hardware design in order to make it easier for us to manufacture more units. The initial hardware design was based around certain components that became almost impossible to source here in Brazil. So the best solution going forward was to redesign NGEN's board to use other parts that were more widely available. So after a number of tests and more prototypes, we finally have a new NGEN board ready. Besides the new PCB design, this new revision also includes other improvements such as USB-C, internal storage for projects, and improved CV outputs. With this new hardware design, we should be able to greatly improve NGEN's availability going forward, starting with a new batch. If you'd like to pre-order a unit from our second batch, check our latest blog post on our website for more details. So now, let me show you some of the new features that we have been working on for NGEN. The new 1.1 firmware update for NGEN will be released alongside the second batch, and it includes many new features, improvements, and bug fixes, as well as support for the new hardware design. So let's check out some of these new features. So first of all, the new NGEN Framework. The entire NGEN Framework has been refactored to improve performance and stability, and to make it easier for us to continue to improve and expand NGEN's feature set. The new framework makes the entire system feel more solid and a lot more responsive. The display rendering engine has been rewritten to improve the display FPS while still providing more visual features. We've also updated the hardware I/O engine to make all the buttons and knobs feel more responsive and precise. Memory management has also been improved to make NGEN more memory efficient and even more flexible. This new and improved framework will be an incredible new foundation for all the new features that we have planned for NGEN. The Generate button lets you generate new sequences using any of the generators available. But sometimes you may want to generate new sequences for all your tracks at once, so that's why we've added pattern generation to NGEN. You can now instantly generate an entire pattern by holding down the track clock button and pressing Generate. This will generate new sequences for all your active tracks at once. You can also create a pattern variation by holding down Track and Function and pressing the Generate button. There's also a new setting called Randomized State that has a major impact in pattern generation. When enabled, NGEN will assign a random state, such as full, normal, minimal, sparse, or muted, to each track. These states are then used by NGEN to algorithmically adjust the settings for each of the generators accordingly. In other words, whenever you generate an entire pattern, NGEN will automatically make certain tracks more prominent, while making other tracks more sparse. This has the effect of making each pattern sound more dynamic and unique. If you rather have more control over all your tracks, you can always disable the randomized state feature. An engine will only generate the sequences without affecting the other parameters. Another focus for the 1.1 update was patterns. In this new update, we've updated how patterns work to make them more useful when creating and performing tracks using NGEN. The new pattern page lets you quickly check the active generator and MIDI effects for the first 3 active tracks of your pattern. You can edit the selected pattern by pressing Function and the Pattern button. The new Edit modal lets you save, copy, paste, and delete patterns. If you keep scrolling down, you'll find 2 new options for generating or varying all 8 patterns at once. Generate All is a supercharged version of the Generate Pattern feature. It lets you generate all 8 patterns with a push of a button. That randomized state setting that I talked about earlier will also work with Generate All. Also new in the 1.1 update is a preview version of a special new generator, the NSL Engine. NSL, or Engine Scripting Language, is a custom scripting language initially designed for us to quickly test and prototype new generators, but that can now be used by all NGEN users. The NSL Engine generator includes a 32-step sequencer with programmable pitch, velocity, note length, and density per step, standard parameters such as shift, length, and density, as well as 4 generic parameters that can be used by the script when generating new sequences. The NSL Engine also takes care of saving and recalling the generated sequence and all available parameters. In this example, this NSL script uses parameter 1 to control the intensity of the generated sequences. After the script generates the sequence, I can then transpose it via the shift parameter, or control the length using the length parameter, like most other generators in NGEN. We also plan on using NSL to share custom scripts for new generator ideas that don't require all the features available in fully fledged generators. The documentation for NSL is available in the NGEN user manual. Keep in mind that NSL and the NSL Engine are still in beta. We'll continue to work to improve and expand NSL in future updates. Now let me quickly show you some of the other changes in the NGEN 1.1 update. The ACDGEN generator, available in NGEN, has been updated to include features from the other software versions, such as a new accent parameter and the lead and legato algorithms. Polyform has also been updated to better match the features available in the Max for Live version. It now supports different chord qualities, an option to change the trigger source from clock to note, and inversion probability. All clock generators available in NGEN have been updated. The MIDI clock now supports swing for both 1/16 and 1/8. The clock rate parameter available in the track settings has been expanded to include more time divisions. You can now quickly reload a pattern or a track setting from their last saved state by holding down track or pattern and pressing the return button. The settings page now includes separate submenus for general, display, and MIDI settings. The global variation amount can now be adjusted via the new variation amount setting available in the general settings. Two new scales have been added to NGEN: Phrygian and Chromatic. A new global octave parameter is now available under the Scale submenu. We've added a new delay parameter to the Thru generator. You can now use it to create delayed copies of another sequence to be played by another instrument. The main four NGEN buttons, track, pattern, function, and generate, can now be used to quickly mute and unmute the first four tracks, while in the Perform submenu. The new 1.1 firmware update for NGEN is now available. So if you'd like to update your unit, check the user manual for detailed instructions. With the new hardware revision and new refactored framework, we are now ready to start building some of the next features that we have on our roadmap. For more details about NGEN, visit spektroaudio.com/NGEN. Until next time, and as always, thanks for watching.